The whole thing kicks off with March 7th in what feels like a super intense therapy session, but it is actually a memetic virus scan. A character named Kuchiba is making her repeat some seriously philosophical lines about sparks and stars to check if she's been brain-hacked by a streamer named Sparksy. After March passes the vibe check, Kuchiba drops some heavy lore about calamity-level aberrations. These are basically out-of-control beings fueled by wish power that can wipe cities off the map. It's a dark turn, setting the stage for the high stakes of the Phantasmoon Games, which are clearly not just for fun. Just when things seem settled, Kuchiba casually reveals that Lyndon Scott, their tour guide, was murdered. The news hits hard, turning their supposed vacation into a full-blown crime scene. The murder seems connected to the Phantasmoon Games, adding a layer of genuine danger to the whole event. March has a heart-to-heart, feeling a bit down about not being the hero of this story. She admits she's not built for the high-pressure stakes of the games like the Trailblazer is. It's a moment of vulnerability, showing the crew is more than just adventurers. They are real friends who worry about each other. The plot thickens with the introduction of a man who looks exactly like Himeko's father, Ryusuke. He recounts the blood-stained games from 15 years ago, a tragic event where many died, including his own daughter, Himeko. This reveal is a major cliffhanger, leaving everyone wondering who this man is. The man confirms he is Himeko's father, and their reunion is unbelievably awkward. He has been gone for 15 years and did not even recognize his own daughter. He tries to play it off as a joke, but the tension between them is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Ryusuke explains his long absence, revealing Himeko suffered from a weathering curse, a hereditary illness that dooms the Graphia bloodline to an early death. He spent years searching for a cure, which is why he was never around. This adds a tragic backstory to Himeko's character and her family. After learning that Himeko somehow survived the curse, Ryusuke is overwhelmed with emotion. He asks to see where his daughter works, desperate to make up for lost time and reconnect with the woman she has become. He wants to understand her life now and be the father he never was. Ryusuke gets a full tour of the Astral Express and meets the crew. He acts like a typical dad, immediately asking about Himeko's salary and work benefits, which lightens the mood. The crew sings Himeko's praises, calling her the backbone of the Express, much to his pride. Himeko appears and the atmosphere instantly chills. Her interaction with her father is formal and distant, a stark contrast to her usual warmth. She agrees to show him around, but makes it clear that this visit is strictly business, related to the Phantasmoon Games, not just a family reunion. In the parlor car, Himeko lays out the harsh realities of being a nameless. It is not a cushy job, but a constant battle against cosmic threats. Her father suggests she quit and take over his academy, but Himeko firmly states her commitment to her path among the stars. Himeko reveals that the Phantasmoon Games 15 years ago were how she overcame the weathering curse. She defeated a terrifying figure called the Herald of Death, but the event left deep scars. The memory of that bloody twilight still haunts her, a heavy weight she carries on her journey. Hi there! If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. The conversation shifts to a new threat. A copycat killer is mimicking the Herald of Death's signature Bloody Bloom murders. This news is deeply unsettling, suggesting that the horrors of the past are returning. Himeko's father warns her to leave the planet for her own safety, but she refuses. Back with the crew, they receive an invitation from Madame Pearl, a major player from the IPC and one of the 10 Stonehearts. She wants to discuss the Phantasmoon Games and offers to help. The meeting is set at the headquarters of her entertainment company, Pearl Lux Corp, sparking curiosity. While waiting for their ride, March 7th gets hyped about buying a copy of Fluffy Across the Blue, a comic series based on the Express Crew's adventures. The author is anonymous, and the characters are all drawn as cute animals, which March finds absolutely adorable and fitting. The Trailblazer runs into a recruiter for the Research Society of Happy Smiles, a charity group that claims to eliminate suffering. The group was founded by survivors of the Bloodstained Games. Their pitch is a little too good to be true, giving off some seriously strange, cult-like vibes. A detective named Ashveil shows up, revealing he's investigating the society in connection to the recent Sinwish Syndicate killings. He warns the Trailblazer that the charity is not what it seems. He is also personally invested, as a friend of his was one of the victims. Ashveil, in a bizarre turn of events, offers March an insane amount of money for her last in-stock copy of Fluffy Across the Blue. He tells a sob story about buying it for his deceased friend, a fan of the comic. March, moved by the story, gives it to him. Their ride arrives in the form of a Mechatron guard named Farron, who escorts them to a sleek, customized vehicle. The whole experience is very high-tech and impressive, setting the tone for the massive scale of Pearl Lux Corp. Ashveil, surprisingly, is also invited to the meeting. The crew arrives at the Pearl Lux Corp headquarters, which is a giant mecha hangar. The lobby is dominated by an incomplete statue of a massive robot from an animated series. The company's philosophy is all about making dreams a reality, and the over-the-top setting definitely reflects that. They are greeted by a quirky employee named Neolux, who claims to be their guide. She is a huge fan and immediately starts taking selfies with them. Her bubbly and slightly chaotic energy is infectious, and she promises to show them all the company's secrets, from mechs to merchandise. Neolux explains that bringing the giant mecha to life is nearly impossible in modern times. People's rational minds and skepticism prevent them from generating the immense wish power needed. It's a sad reality that doubt has grounded what could have been a spectacular, living creation. While looking at merchandise, they find a toy of Alloy King Pom Pom from the Fluffy Across the Blue series. It is a clear knockoff, but Neolux cheekily insists it is a completely different character. The lines between their real lives and their fictional counterparts are getting incredibly blurry. They meet a young actor, Cinderborn, who plays a hero in the Daybreak Squadron show. He is a massive fan of the Trailblazer and their adventures, having followed their journey across the galaxy. He is completely starstruck and geeks out, asking for an autograph on his clothes. The tour continues to the Mechatron Design Lab, where Neolux explains the industrialized process of creating Imagini. What was once a magical art has been turned into a standardized, efficient assembly line. It is a very IPC way of looking at creation, prioritizing productivity over everything else. The Trailblazer gets the chance to assemble parts of the giant mecha statue. The process is gamified and incredibly fun, involving explosive devices to detach parts and thrusters to install armor. It is a dream come true for any robot enthusiast, letting them build their own giant mech. After assembling the mecha, the Trailblazer is suddenly transported into a combat simulation. They get to pilot a smaller version of the mech and fight through a city. The whole thing is narrated like a classic superhero show, with Nihilux providing hyped-up commentary for every move. The Daybreak squadron challenges the Trailblazer to a friendly battle. They want to prove themselves as heroes and ask the Trailblazer to become an honorary 5th member if they win. Cinderborn, the fanboy, is especially excited to fight alongside his idol, making the battle feel personal. The epic battle turns out to have been a performance on a film set, not a real city fight. The reveal is both funny and a bit of a letdown. Nihilux explains that destroying a real city would be an insurance nightmare for Madame Pearl, so they opted for special effects instead. Cinderborn confesses his backstory to the Trailblazer. He used to be a street punk who thought violence made him a hero. Reading about the Astral Express's adventures taught him what being a true hero meant, inspiring him to change his ways and join the Daybreak squadron. Nihilux drops a final piece of advice before leaving them to meet Madame Pearl. She points out that the Trailblazers' fame is their greatest asset in the Phantasmoon Games. Their widely known story generates immense wish power, giving them a huge advantage over other supplicants. The crew meets the real guide, who reveals that Nihilux was an imposter. She was not an employee of Pearl LuxCorp at all. This twist adds another layer of mystery to her character. She played them all, but her motives are still completely unknown, leaving everyone confused. They finally meet Madame Pearl, who takes the news of the imposter in stride. She explains her goal for the Phantasmoon Games. She wants to end them quickly and safely, avoiding another tragedy like the one 15 years ago. She wants to see miracles of joy, not sorrow and rage. The Trailblazer reveals their wild, hilarious goal for winning the games: to make Aha, the Aeon of Elation, the leader of the Anti-Destruction Alliance. They even have an old IOU signed by Aha as leverage. It is a brilliant and chaotic plan that perfectly fits the Express's vibe. The biggest twist drops when Pearl reveals that she has also joined the Phantasmoon Games as a supplicant. As the administrator of the planet and an IPC bigwig with insane resources, she is an incredibly formidable opponent. She proposes an alliance, but the Express is wary. Pearl confesses her personal motivation. She wants to recreate the divine art of imagenesis, a legendary painting technique. Originally an art-imitating machine, she is now on a quest to understand the essence of true creation, a pursuit that blurs the line between personal desire and IPC objectives. Pearl proposes a plan to lure out the other two unknown supplicants. She suggests hosting a massive Astral Express exhibition called Star Rail Fest. It would be a huge event to attract fans, generate wish power for the Express, and create the perfect stage for their mysterious rivals to make a move. After the crew leaves, Pearl has a private meeting with Ashveil. He is not just a detective, he is her hired gun. She tasks him with protecting the Nameless during Star Rail Fest. There is a deep, hidden history between them, and their conversation is loaded with tension and unspoken truths. Ashveil confronts Pearl about the IPC's involvement in the Herald of Death case from 15 years ago. He wants answers, not money. She admits her own knowledge is limited, as the affair is tied to a different IPC department, but she agrees to share what she knows, revealing a conspiracy. The real danger is not a resurrected killer, but someone exploiting the Herald of Death's legacy. Fear, just like joy, can generate massive amounts of wish power. Pearl hires Ashveil to handle the new Herald of Death, giving him full authority to deliver his own brand of justice. Ashveil meets with Kuchiba, and they piece together clues. They suspect the new Herald of Death is a copycat who knows the original case details intimately. Their investigation leads them back to the Research Society of Happy Smiles, founded by the families of the original victims. They discover that the sponsor behind the society is a woman named Fullwish, a media tycoon who also owns Fullwish TV. She was a survivor of the attack on Graphia Academy. The web of connections is getting tighter, and all signs point to her being a major player. At a society seminar, the attendees are buzzing with a weirdly intense, almost manic happiness. They talk about their lives improving dramatically since joining, but their joy feels unnatural. They even celebrate the Sinwish Syndicate's massacre, believing the world is better without those who cause unhappiness. Fullwish takes the stage and delivers a powerful, manipulative speech. She recounts her trauma from the blood-stained games and positions the society as a beacon of hope. She blames the IPC for corrupting society with materialism and promises to bring true, shared happiness back to the world. Her speech becomes a full-blown sermon. She identifies people in the crowd, calling out their specific pains and offering salvation through the society. The crowd is completely mesmerized, hanging on her every word. She is a master of emotional manipulation, turning their despair into devotion. Kuchiba confronts Fullwish about the Sinwish Syndicate murders. Fullwish plays innocent, but then reveals she knows a key detail that was never released to the public. The killer copied the Herald of Death. She uses this to whip the crowd into a frenzy, positioning herself as their protector. The crowd becomes a unified, chanting mob. Their mantra, "The happy do not die," echoes through the venue. It is a chilling display of mass delusion. Fullwish has successfully turned them into a zealous army, ready to defend their happiness against any perceived threat, including the authorities. After the event, Ashveil and Kuchiba regroup. Fullwish managed to turn their investigation into a publicity stunt for her cause. Ashveil notes how she deliberately leaked the Bloody Bloom detail, a move designed to spread panic and rally her followers. She is playing a dangerous game. They run into Magnus, the Daybreak squadron actor, who was also at the gathering. He is fiercely loyal to Fullwish and the society, claiming they saved him. His squad mates show up to back him, revealing they are all part of this movement and are not just actors anymore. A fight breaks out and Ashveil easily handles the society members. He discovers they feel no pain, laughing even as they are beaten. They have undergone a happiness surgery, a procedure that removes their ability to suffer. It is a horrifying revelation that changes everything. Magnus confesses his hesitation about the surgery to Ashveil. He feels torn between his loyalty to his friends and his fear of losing his humanity. Ashveil gives him some surprisingly solid advice, telling him that true strength comes from overcoming fear, not erasing it. It is a moment of mentorship. Blade and Sunday finally have their confrontation. Sunday reveals that General Yao Guang's divination foresees Blade bringing a catastrophe to this world, tied to the emanator of abundance, Shu Hu. The air is thick with tension as old scores and cosmic threats collide. Sunday senses a strange, looping laughter in the minds of the society members. It is not the work of a tuner, but something more insidious. Like a mental barrier people have built to numb their own pain. The source of this mass self-deception remains a disturbing mystery. The crew is tasked with visiting Blurry QR Cult, the author of Fluffy Across the Blue, to convince them to appear at Star Rail Fest. The address leads them to a newspaper office in Dovebrook District, the same sketchy area where the murders and the society are based. They find Nyalux at the office, and the truth comes out. She is Blurry QR Cult. Her whole quirky employee persona at Pearl Lux Corp was a front. She is a master of disguise and deception, and her real motives are still completely up in the air. Nihilux gives them a crash course on her comic. The characters are simplified, cute animal versions of the crew, designed to be marketable and appeal to the masses. She explains the brutal reality of the entertainment industry. If you do not cater to the audience, you get cancelled. The upcoming Star Rail Fest, with its mix of heroes and villains, is the perfect source of inspiration for Nihilux's next story arc. She sees the conflict and chaos as prime material, blurring the line between reporting on their adventure and actively profiting from their real-life struggles. While the crew preps for the festival, Himeko has a touching moment with her father. He gives her old family records about the Phantasmoon Games. He finally accepts her path as a Trailblazer, offering his quiet support and praying for her safe return. Star Rail Fest is officially underway, and the atmosphere is electric. The entrance is packed with fans, cosplayers, and streamers. The crew is greeted as superstars, with fans chanting their names. The sheer scale of their popularity on this planet is both overwhelming and a little intimidating. The Trailblazer gets pulled into an interview with Full Wish TV. The questions are pointed, trying to paint them as either an agent of the IPC or a violent disruptor. It is clear that the media is not on their side and is actively trying to shape public opinion against them. The fan merch booths are wild, filled with all sorts of unofficial and borderline unhinged content created by the community. It is a hilarious and slightly terrifying look into how the public perceives them, from shipping novels to weirdly specific fan theories. The fandom is truly something else. Nihilux is at her signing booth, complaining about her small setup. She hands out light sticks that the organizers forced on her, a sign of the corporate machine behind the fan-centric event. She is a reluctant participant, caught between her art and the demands of commercialism. A mysterious girl named Evanesia shows up, claiming she helped the Trailblazer get their mask for the Phantasmoon Games. Her appearance is another unexpected twist, hinting at even more hidden players and factions involved in this increasingly complex game. Her true allegiance is a complete unknown. Evanesia turns on the charm, playing the part of a huge fan to manipulate March into helping her sneak into the event. Her act is flawless, and March, with her soft spot for fans, falls for it completely. It is a masterful display of social engineering. The exhibition kicks off at the Bellobog area. The host is none other than Sparksy, the Memetic streamer they defeated earlier. She is back and more chaotic than ever, hosting a trivia quiz about the fluffy version of their Bellobog adventure, which is hilariously inaccurate. Evanesia gets March to spill the secret about the truth of Cocolia's story. The contrast between the sanitized, heroic version in the comic and the messy, tragic reality is stark. Evanesia points out that even heroes have to lie, a theme that resonates with the masked nature of the games. The scene where the Trailblazer transfers power to Cocolia is reenacted, with the whole crowd cheering. Evanesia gets emotional, saying she wishes she could join the Express. March gives a heartfelt speech about how stories connect people, creating a bond that transcends physical journeys. The Xianzhou Lofu exhibition area is completely flooded. In a meta moment, the Trailblazer has to fix the plumbing, just like they did in the actual game. The line between being a hero and doing mundane labor is getting funnier and thinner with every new challenge. The Daybreak squadron hijacks the stage show. They are not just actors anymore, they are now supplicants in the Phantasmoon Games. They issue a formal challenge to the Trailblazer, turning the fan festival into a public battleground. The friendly atmosphere is completely shattered. The battle is intense, but the Trailblazer holds their own against the Squadron. The fight confirms that the Squadron is the hidden supplicant group Pearl was worried about. Their motives seem tied to becoming the true heroes of this world, and they see the Express as outsiders. Himeko arrives and Evanesia's identity is finally exposed. She created the mask that allowed the Trailblazer to enter the games. She is not a normal student, but a spectator with a special role. Before disappearing, she leaves them with a cryptic riddle about why flowers are beautiful. Sparksy calls the Trailblazer to warn them about the media manipulation. The interview they did earlier has been maliciously edited by Fullwish TV to make them look like an arrogant, violent villain who is in league with the IPC. A full-blown smear campaign is now in effect. The crew realizes they are not just in a physical fight, but an information war. The Daybreak Squadron's challenge was a setup designed to create footage for the media to twist. Their reputation is being systematically destroyed, turning the public and their fans against them. Ashveil and Kuchiba confirm their suspicions. Fullwish is the mastermind behind the Daybreak Squadron and the media campaign. She is a survivor of the blood-stained games and is now using her resources to manipulate the Phantasmoon Games for her own dark purposes. At the final exhibition area, the Daybreak Squadron confronts them again. Their leader gives a speech filled with resentment, claiming the Express was absent when their world needed heroes 15 years ago. They see the Nameless as vain outsiders who have stolen their heroic narrative. In a shocking move, the 4 members of the Daybreak Squadron merge their bodies and consciousness with the giant pom-pom statue in the lobby. They bring the inanimate object to life, turning the cute mascot into a monstrous, out-of-control weapon fueled by their distorted sense of justice. The battle against the giant pom-pom mech is chaotic and destructive. The Trailblazer, March, and Himeko fight back, but the mech is incredibly powerful. The fight causes a massive reality tear, and the ground gives way, plunging everyone into an unknown, glitchy dimension. The members of the Daybreak Squadron are reborn in this new dimension, their minds completely gone. They are now just husks of joy, laughing as they recount their murders. Ashveil reveals his true, terrifying power, a shadowy entity that devours them, ending their rampage permanently. Ashveil reveals his identity as La Mancha, a legendary Galaxy Ranger, a name from a bygone era. He is far more than just a detective. The crew is shaken by this revelation and the brutal events that just transpired. The stakes of the game have escalated. Madame Pearl arrives and rescues them from the torn scroll dimension. She explains that the space was a splintered fragment of the world in canvas. She confirms that all 3 of the executed Daybreak warriors were supplicants, meaning Fullwish is still in the game. The most horrifying truth is revealed. Ashveil tasted the power of abundance from the fallen warriors. Their happiness surgery was not just a medical procedure, but a form of transformation tied to the Aeon of Abundance. A great calamity, long brewing, is now on the verge of erupting. With the threat of the abundance looming over the planet, the rivalry of the Phantasmoon Games is put aside. The Astral Express, the IPC represented by Pearl, and the former Galaxy Ranger Ashveil form an uneasy alliance. They must work together to stop Fullwish and her sinister plans. Pearl confesses her artistic and governing philosophies are intertwined. She sees the happiness surgery as a defilement of her work, as it strips away the complexity and potential of humanity. Her mission to cleanse this misguided stroke from her canvas has become personal. In a private conversation, Pearl admits to Ashveil that she manipulated events to lead him to the Daybreak squadron. She used him to confirm her suspicions, knowing his shadow power was the perfect tool for the job. It was a calculated risk that paid off. Silverwolf appears, ready to work with Ashveil. It is revealed that even Elio, the leader of the Stellaron Hunters, cannot see the future of this world. With multiple aeons now in play, destiny is unwritten, and they must navigate the chaos on their own. The final scene shows General Yao Guang finding the heart of the Phantasmoon Games, a massive ancient tree that is clearly the ambrosial arbor of abundance. She confronts a mysterious fae-like girl who claims to be the arbitrator of the games and the living pulse of the world, leaving the story on a massive cliffhanger. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.